Hello and welcome everyone to the Payment Association's monthly Project Spotlight. For those of you who didn't catch last month's Spotlight video, we take 5 minutes every month to highlight some of the great work our project working groups are up to at the moment. Today, I'm glad to be joined by Alison Donnelly, Director fscom and Project Lead for Project Regulator. Project Regulator, understandably due to its topic area, has been the longest standing project at the Payment Association. However, to kick off, and this is perhaps for our members who don't know much about Project Regulator already, Alison, how would you describe Project Regulator and the work that it does?
Thanks, Tom. It's my great privilege to be able to lead Project Regulator because it's a brilliant group of people who are from our membership base. They're all experts in payment services regulation. They're all very committed, very enthusiastic, and that what collectively we want to achieve is to be able to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in payments regulation. That's looking into the future. So for instance, we're looking into consultations and things that will happen in the future. But we're also looking at what's happening at present and reflecting that and challenging that, bringing that back to our members because, there's so much going on. And for our members, they have varying capacity to keep track of the changes and developments. The value that we bring is that we're able to bring those thoughts together, ask the right questions, and feedback up the way, perhaps to the people at the top who are making policy decisions in government and the FCA. But we're also cascading information and bringing the thoughts through to our membership.
Thanks, Alison. Absolutely. And you mentioned the FCA there. This project has really strengthened its relationship with the regulator over the last couple of years and continually meets with the FCA to discuss issues and speak on behalf of members at the Payment Association. What has been the sort of really key area of focus for the project lately?
There's a number of areas that we have over the last number of years focused on with the FCA, but one in particular is the concern that applicants have in the authorisation process. We've done a number of videos on this before, so our members will be well aware that there has been a backlog at the authorisation stage, and that has a knock-on impact on those firms seeking to enter into the market. So we've been speaking directly to the people in the authorisations team at the FCA who are responsible for those teams who are challenging and considering the applications. That's been useful because I think we're able to feedback the impact and effect that has on applicants. And also we're hearing firsthand the difficulties and challenges that they're facing. So that can be fed back to the members who are in that application process. But, really great relationship with the FCA, but we also speak with other competent authorities, the Bank of England, the Payment Systems Regulator, and Treasury. So, it's a broad field that we're speaking in, and that's really important to our membership.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alison. And I think you in terms of the authorizations issue, that was a big one for lots of our members and the wider industry. And it was really sort of pertinent to be able to hear from the FCA in terms of how they are dealing with the backlog of requests. And it's great to get both sides of the coin really on this issue. Of course, that's not the only thing that we've been speaking to the FCA about. The consumer duty, which is going to be implemented in April next year, the FCA have, released the news and shared that this is sort of inbound for the industry. We've been speaking a lot about it during our Project Regulator meetings. Why has it been at the forefront of conversations for Project Regulator? Why is it such an important time to be discussing this?
Yes, the consumer duty is new for the whole financial services sector, and but from our perspective, we're looking at this for payment service providers, and it presents a bit of a challenge. The guidance and the consultation documents that the FCA produced didn't provide a lot of detail that was specific to the payment services sector. That can be either good news, they haven't identified particular issues in the sector, or perhaps it makes it more complicated for firms because they're not able to see, well, how does this actually impact, what's the FCA's actual expectations of the sector? And that's where we thought we would step in. We were having discussions about it ourselves. What we've wanted to produce is something that's useful for the head of compliance, the managing director, the board of directors in a payment or e-money institution, or more generally a payment service provider, and for them to be able to feel that they understand how they need to react and respond to this new guidance and rules. And so that's what we've produced. A report has been published for our members that gives really useful information on the consumer duty. And also we're going to have a webinar in a couple of weeks' time, which will bring together the experts who were involved in creating the document and others to discuss consumer duty and to really also hear from firms the challenges and the top tips that they themselves have. It's in that discourse that we find real value for our members and the pulling together of ideas and information.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alison. And you're right, this has formed a real it's been a really huge conversation for the project team. We did start with an open mic when we spoke directly to our members about the consumer duty and wanted to learn about their concerns. We've followed that up with a report, which, as you say, is now available for our members, and you should be able to find it in this newsletter. As well as that, you mentioned we've got the webinar on the 15th of September. What are the really sort of key questions that you think we are going to be looking to address in that webinar? Is it going to be a reflection on the findings of the report? Is it a little bit wider than that?
I think it can be a little bit wider than that. It's going to look at how firms what the next steps are. What do they need to do in the immediate now as they begin to prepare for it, and the steps that will take them right through until implementation and beyond. This has been set up as a real cultural change for firms. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be the case for payment service providers, because I think that the needs and requirements of the consumers are pretty much embedded in payment service providers anyway. But nonetheless, there's a job of work to be done in terms of being able to pull that together and record that and provide the evidence of that. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in the webinar. How do firms do that? How do they approach that task?
Brilliant. Absolutely. And I think it's going to be really, really helpful for pretty much all of our members. This really impacts our whole membership. That is the sort of wide, all-encompassing approach that this principle is taking. So please do join us on the 15th of September for that. Alison, you'll be there alongside other experts in the field. And I guess I'll finish with just an invitation to anyone watching this who is a member of the Payments Association to join myself and Alison and the rest of Project Regulator, where we just have discussions like this all the time. So please do reach out. You can contact me at tom.bruin@thepaymentsassociation.org. Thank you.